What's going on, y'all? This is Isaiah Fowler, and I wanted to talk about a customer profile today. This is probably one of the most important things that you're gonna need in your marketing efforts when you really start, when you actually, from the beginning of you building your business and your brand, because you wanna know who to target and who you're gonna be selling to. And then as you grow, you're gonna have like so many different customer profiles. It's crazy. So in the beginning, we call it your ideal, client, your ideal customer, and then from after that, you start to get into the customer profile because you actually know who you're selling to after a certain amount of time. So I wrote down like a whole bunch of different things, and I'm gonna put them on the whiteboard. So if you see me looking down, that's why. So the first thing you want to think about in terms of your customer profile or your avatar is what's their name, right? Here's why. There's something important and extremely powerful when you put a name on it. I have a friend, he has a custom suit company, and I remember maybe like 7 months after he launched his business, he hit me up, he texted me, he was like, yo, I remember I wrote down my avatar, their name was this. He screenshotted me the order, and the customer who purchased from him was the same name that he put down on his customer profile. So you really want to put this on paper, and speak things into existence, honestly. So because there's gonna be a million different customers, but if you sit here and you give it a name, in your mind, you know exactly who you're talking to and who you're marketing to, and that's really what's important. So the next thing is, where do they shop? David. All right. Where do they shop? What's their favorite brand? There's something completely different between a person who shops at Saks Fifth and a person who shops at Target or Sears. Those are three completely different people. They get marketed to completely different. They all have completely different lifestyles. You want to know where they shop at. Where do they frequent? What's their favorite brand? Put this stuff down right now so that way you have a clear idea of who you're talking to and who you're marketing to, and your words and your colors and all of that stuff. If it's no matter guy or girl, what's their favorite sports teams, right? Maybe you want to make a reference in your marketing material. Maybe you'll have the opportunity to go, if they like the Chargers, do a partnership with the Chargers, and that'll make you more money, right? Know that. If you're selling, let's say you're selling watches, right? How often do they purchase watches, right? Because if you have a watch company, it's important to know how often does your ideal client customer purchase watches. That way you could kind of like figure out, okay, if I have one customer, I'll be able to sell them 2 to 3 watches a year. It's extremely important. The next one is, how old are they, right? How old are they? And if you don't know, I would put an actual age, but you can say, this age range, because a 27-year-old and a 34-year-old are in 2 completely different spaces. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to psychology. You're trying to get inside the mind of your consumer as much as possible so you know how to talk exactly to them. Because when you know how to talk exactly to them, you get results. Stuff works, right? What magazines do they read, right? What magazines do they read? If your ideal customer reads GQ every single month, and throughout the month, you could sit here and say, okay, we're going to do a major push to get featured in GQ. If you know that's where your customer is at, it's clear. You know where to go now. Business is all about clarity. Building a brand is all about clarity, right? This is important. How much do they make annually? Right? If you know how much they make, you kind of know where you lay at, where you lie. How much can we price our products? Maybe we need to switch our customer profile to a different demographic a little bit. You know, it just depends. Or maybe you say, okay, we can actually sell our product at a higher price point because this is who's been purchasing from us the last year and a half, right? That's extremely important. And a follow-up question to that is, how much disposable income? How much disposable income does my customer, my avatar, my ideal customer client make every month, every year? Disposable, not, net or gross every year. If you know your customer has an extra $1,500 a month after all their bills are paid, then, a $200 watch is not that bad, or it's not that hard to purchase. So you want to know that. Are they married or single, right? If they're married, you may need to put in your marketing that, they can have bundles. You have some bundles. That'll increase your average order value, your sales, et cetera, et cetera. If they're single, women are statistically proven and shown to purchase more. So maybe you need to market to their spouse for their boyfriend, because men are a hard sell. Where do they live? Right? Of course, you're going to have customers from all over the place, but you want to know that one person specifically. You want to have somebody in your mind, in your head, of like, who am I selling to? Who am I talking to? So you want to know where they live. What influences buying right? What influences their buying decisions? So for my company, we have a social aspect. For every pair of sunglasses we sell, we take $5, we put it into our visionary investment fund, and we invest in the people who have a vision. So I did a survey, and I asked people if this is something that contributed to them making a purchase or not over another brand or this one, and they said yes. So I knew that was something that made sense, and that would help in the brand and how we sell and how much we would be able to sell over time. So this is important. What influences their buying decisions? Where do they hang out at? This is extremely important. Where do they hang out at? Right? But watch this. Online and offline. Right? Where do they hang out at? Online and offline. Because when you know where somebody hangs out at, you can conveniently be there with your product and or service and say, hey, this is what I have. Are you interested in purchasing this? Worst case scenario, you get an email address that you're able to, market to later on, or you can retarget them. So you really want to dive in deep. If they like the Rams, or the Chiefs, they probably like going to sports bars. Which sports bars? What's their favorite beer? Things like this, right? If you selling yoga pants and yoga clothes, you probably know that that person, that customer, if it's a woman or a man, they're more into mindfulness. They're more into meditation. That's a whole nother rabbit hole that you can go down. You really want to know who you're talking to, who you're marketing to. Define who you're talking to. What's favorite brand of cars? What's their favorite brand of cars? That tells you, a lot about a person as well. Because it kind of lets you know what their standards may be. Because if a person loves Benz or Porsche, they may be used to a certain level of customer service. And if your brand isn't delivering on that, maybe you need to incorporate that into your brand, or you can not sell to them and define a new customer. This is what it's about. It's all about clarity. And the last one I thought about was what music do they like? If you know what music they like, once again, you know what communities they like, and you could dive into that. And also, you may be able to make a reference. Or if a customer, you do a survey and a customer likes, this one person, you can send them a thank you card with the picture of that band or that rapper, on the front cover of the card, and say, hey, I know you like so-and-so, here's a thank you card, boom, $5 Starbucks. People will love that. So these are a lot of things to think about when creating your customer profile, your avatar, your ideal client, your ideal customer. Define all of these things. And then within each one, you want to continue to dive deep, right? So if you say, if we answer, where do they hang out at? Let's say they hang out offline at Foot Locker and at the mall. Okay, within the mall or within Foot Locker, what's their favorite shoes? Within the mall, what's their favorite store? Is Foot Locker their favorite store? Okay, what's their favorite shoe brand? From that shoe brand, what's their favorite shoe? Why do they like that shoe? You gotta go deep. You gotta go so deep if you wanna have a successful brand and you wanna really understand who you're talking to, who you're marketing to, who you're selling to. That's what this is all about. So these are a lot of things to think about when it comes to customer profile and your avatar. So dive deep into this. Go work on this. This is extremely important to the success of your business, long term. And just know that as you grow, you're gonna have to keep updating it and keep creating more, because you're gonna be selling to multiple types of people as your company grows, and you wanna have it all defined. So that's what I have for you today. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And as always, everything you do in life, it starts with a vision.